Good day, and welcome to this special edition of Spotlight we're calling GM's Corner, a regular series of short conversations with Lake Monticello's General Manager Steve Hurwitz about what's on his agenda and what's on his mind. Mr. General Manager, nice to be with you as always. Well, we understand we have a little news of some new things going on over at the pub.
We certainly do. Ron, there's a brand new menu coming out, maybe in a matter of hours. So people watching this, it may have been released already, but a very exciting menu that, in addition to having some great selections, is based on inputs from the community. You know, we've asked for people to volunteer for a new food and beverage committee, and we have had some volunteers. We need one more to fully form the committee, but some of the members have been very kind about talking to their neighbors and letting us know what kind of food they would like to see on the menu, and we've been able to incorporate it. That is, Andrew Kerper, our manager of F&B, has been able to incorporate it in this new menu. So we'll be very excited to see the members' reaction to that. And I do ask everybody to think very carefully and get in their car or walk and head to the pub. Once this menu is out, come on over and give the pub a try. If you have before, or if you haven't before, you should come to the pub. I think this menu will draw a lot of people, and people will be very happy with the offerings.
Can you give us an inkling? Is there one sort of theme that changes that people have mainly suggested?
Well, you know, to characterize it, I'll point out that there's a variety of choices of all kinds. To me, what jumps out is some of the breakfast options, including a breakfast burrito that's been asked for before and we've had from time to time.
But that's
a
now
big
just
deal.
on weekends. Of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
on weekends. The hours haven't changed
All right.
in that regard. We have all through the week happy hours and other events to celebrate the different days and for people's dollars to go further. And then for entrees, very exciting offerings. I'll just mention a few at this point. The famous pub burger that's always very popular, the BLT sandwich, grilled Reuben, which is the best Reuben I've had in years, right here. Just about as good as any I've ever had anywhere, including in New York,
No.
where it came from, I think.
High praise.
A Greek wrap, and big news, salads of all kinds, and also a vegetarian entree for lunch or dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very excited about that.
All right. Well, sounds like people should try the taste buds and see how that goes down.
I think
so to speak.
I would be very surprised if people weren't very happy with the offerings. You know.
Okay, and that is obviously it is important because one of our amenities, but like any amenity needs support. We all know that. Notice even the look out the window early evening. The sunlight was supposedly still there. It's turning dark a lot earlier now, obviously, as we head toward late fall, and brings up the importance of I can notice being out dusk, particularly. Folks driving really need to watch the side of the road for folks who are walking, and that brings up our usual safety issue, does it not?
It does. Unfortunately, we have a great base to build on, considering the shortened hours of daylight, the increased hours of darkness. That is my personal observation, and Chief Abbott agrees with this. We have a huge, highly successful amount of compliance by everybody driving vehicles of all kinds. Whenever they see pedestrians or people on bikes, people pushing baby strollers, what have you, running, walking, people in the vehicle slow down, move over. Again, I'd say it's at the 99% compliance level, and that's great. That has kept us very safe. On the other hand, when you're talking about darkness, there's whole other factors involved. And I have seen in the past week two separate occasions people out jogging in the pitch dark, early in the morning, one in the evening after it got dark, with no reflective material anywhere to be seen on their shoes or on their sweatshirt or what have you, or any lighting. So this is an appeal to ask people who are out early in the morning, even if there's still some light, uh, and certainly in the pitch dark, both in the morning and the evening, to remember reflective material, if you don't have any, on in your shoes and on
Hmm.
your workout suit and so forth, get a vest. They're only $4 and $5, and
Yeah.
they work really great. And also consider lighting of some kind that you carry. I myself, in my attempts to run, have carried a little flashlight that I can
Hmm.
use uh, to light the way if I need to, or just to point
Yeah.
out that I'm there. That would help a great deal. We did have an incident between a vehicle and a person at a corner that was pretty much a blind corner in the dark. Fortunately, there was no real injury, but we did have contact between a
Mm.
person walking, a person out on the road, rather, jogging, and a vehicle. And it was around a blind corner, but it was made even, the situation was made more perilous, and in fact did result in this contact, unnecessary and very undesirable contact,
Yeah.
because of the lack of any way to see the person on the road. So we really want people to be careful of that, and that will build on this tremendous base we have of people in vehicles
Yeah.
being so cautious, considerate, and careful.
Yeah. Well, yes, you'd hope self-preservation would be the rule here but people even yes on bicycles and with dark clothing and side of the road and blending into the foliage, pretty tough visually.
Yes.
So
Now,
it's advice well offered. I know that, and folks always have questions. Sometimes, shall we pleasantly say, gripes about policies of one sort or another here at the lake, and they say, "Boy, I'd like to really like to change that." Well, there are mechanisms for that, are there not?
there are, and as much as we appreciate people's inputs, whether it's directly, personally, or on the phone or an email, there is a mechanism in place. You know, we don't make up things. We try very hard not to do that, but to follow the rules that really represent the knowledge that's been gained, the decisions that have been made over the many years, the 50 years here at the lake to make things better, various ways. So the policies that are in a policy manual, all listed on the web page and available to all residents, include all of that. So what I encourage people to do, if they don't agree with something, which is of course totally okay, people have a right to their view. It affects them directly, and they have a view on something. The first thing they should do is look for it in policy and see what the policy is. And if by chance we're not following the policy, please call it to our attention. If, on the other hand, a person thinks the policy isn't the best, isn't up to date, or is a little wrong-headed, I'm not saying that's possible, but
Oh,
maybe,
of course.
maybe it could happen once every 20 or 30 or 100 years. But people should, you know, also take the time to point that out. Then there is a procedure. Just having told us, the staff, as directed by the board, will look into those kind of things and look to make amendments or corrections. And even then, when you get to the level of the uh, of, of the very formal documents, way above the level of the policies, that is the bylaws,
Hmm.
even there's a formal mechanism for members to institute a change to the bylaws if they wish. But within the realm that we normally live in and operate on, the policies, we really want to be open to people's suggestions and ideas. And they would be much better prepared to help with that by taking a look at those policies, seeing if it's uh, not being applied right in their view, or maybe needs to be changed. We're very
Hmm.
open to that.
Hmm. Well, of course, members may always communicate with you or the board through the website, through messages, and also, of course, they may speak at the monthly meetings of the board of directors to raise an issue. But otherwise, wouldn't sometimes dealing with this involve working through one of our volunteer committees?
Well, that's a very important point, and in a number of cases recently, because we have such a strong suit of committees, the committee's main role is to make recommendations to the board, and also in most cases to me at the same time as the general manager. So we often encourage people when they have a question about policy that directly affects something like safety and security, we will refer them to the Safety and Security Committee. It's one of the many committees that's exceptionally well led and full of people that are very serious, very knowledgeable. So that often is a good place to bring a policy concern, as opposed to just directly to the board or the staff. And that enables people who are well schooled in that particular area to put their expertise to use. And often a collaborative result is reached. Sometimes there's an explanation from the committee to the member, and the member's satisfied, or sometimes the committee takes it up and then makes recommendations to the board. So yes, the committees are a real strong point in that entire process.
Mm-hmm. Are there any special guidelines that people should be aware of in dealing or approaching a committee?
Well, there's nothing formal except the committees meet, and the meetings are announced and published. That's a requirement in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's very important. So if somebody is interested in something that affects, let's say, watershed, the lake,
Mm-hmm.
and the relevant committee would be the Watershed Management Committee, yet another one that's very well led with excellent members. So they can find out when the meeting is. They can find out, in fact, have a link to the chairman and indicate that they're interested in bringing up a subject and how would they do it. And then they'll be normally invited to come to the meeting and speak during a period in the meeting. So there really is a process of interacting with a committee that provides, I'd say, a real avenue to make sure it's not just lost in the ether. You know, as I like to say, the suggestion you receive in aisle 12
Yeah.
in the grocery
That-
store is one thing, but something that's clearly discussed and entered into the minutes at a committee meeting will take on a life of its own and not get lost.
Yeah, yeah, that's a point that all committee meetings are open to all members, and I'm sure sparsely attended, shall we say, or let's say infrequently, by people out of either just curiosity on what is going on in the committee, or if they do have an issue that is relevant to that committee. Um, and there is always in the minutes of the committee, on the agenda of the committee meeting, there is the spot at the end that says member comment. And that's what that is aimed to achieve, is it not?
It does, and it's a very powerful tool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a good, actually, that's a good reminder and outlet for folks. It's not just folks are powerless and need to sometimes silently chafe under a regulation or a policy that they have a problem with. That's not to say they're right, but at least there's an avenue for exploring it. Happy Notes. Happy Notes. We have a marvelous facility at Ash Lawn Clubhouse, and though not serving meals regularly, it is a terrific venue for a lot of events, a special events category. We gearing up to do more of that.
We are, in fact, Andrew Kerper and his team have started booking slowly. Uh, Now that we're well established at the pub, having made the change and stopped the food operation, the regular restaurant operation at Ashlawn, we're paused on that. We have had bookings for weddings, birthdays, and other big events, and it is a wonderful venue for that. We're looking forward to even more of those. They're wonderful from the business end. That's an important part of any food and beverage
Yeah.
operation. And just as importantly here, since it's a member organization, those excellent facilities at Ashlawn are starting to get more and more use for private events, which are wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of hard to have a birthday party for 75 people in almost every home here at the lake.
Yeah.
So people are taking advantage of that, and I would encourage them to do that. I think our catering is excellent. It's a great value. It's right here close to home. And then again, it takes advantage of the wonderful facility at Ashlawn. Coincident with that, because we're making more and more use of various dining groups are having their regular monthly events here. Uh, I mean, at the pub, in the larger rooms, the fairway rooms, a lot of the regular activities that don't involve food and beverage have been moved over to Ashlawn to take advantage of the excellent meeting facilities there. So that's helped free up space at the pub for dining. By the same token, for these very special events, including the big events that we hold. In fact, Just recently, I participated in a meeting about a big event. The news will be coming out soon. The Festival of Trees is going to be a wonderful event. I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be instantaneously famous. And there's a group working on that. Well, of course, that's being housed over at Ashlawn. An
Okay.
example of the kind of big event that Ashlawn was built for.
Well, we'll look forward to that. And meanwhile, I presume people should call Andrew Kerper if they are interested in booking a anniversary party, birthday party, wedding reception, whatever it may be.
Yes, indeed. And as some people know, uh, my wife Mickey and I have booked our 50th anniversary celebration at Ashlawn for October of 2020.
Well, prospectively, okay. Well, we'll wish you a happy 49th for this month.
Thank you.
How's that very much? Thank you. We've been talking with LMOA's General Manager, Stephen Hurwitz, about what's on his agenda, what's on his mind here on GM's Corner. We hope that you'll pick up on more of these semi-monthly chats with the General Manager and also join the full range of broadcasting here on your good old Channel 977 or up on YouTube. So till next time, on behalf of the LMOA Broadcast Group, I'm Ron Krause. Thanks very much for watching, and good day.